Welcome back to the channel. Here you'll find the fastest updates on breaking news, shocking secrets, and dramatic predictions for times. The young and the restless. Who will betray whom? What secrets are about to be revealed? And what horrific tragedy awaits the characters in Genoa City? Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us to discover the unmissable developments right now. Welcome back to our channel, dedicated to bringing you the most detailed and thrilling updates from Genoa. Today is a great day to explore the scandalous and heartbreaking plot of The Young and the Restless. The Y&R storyline is full of surprises, as Billy's rage could lead to a horrific murder. What terrible thing could happen to Kane when Billy fires the Jill will be unable to accept what terrible thing. The suffocating atmosphere of impending disaster has enveloped the vast grounds of the Chancellor's mansion, casting a long and gloomy shadow over the entire city of Genoa. A catastrophic event is silently unfolding behind the closed doors of the magnificent mansion, an event that threatens to violently overturn the fragile balance of power that has governed the business elite for decades. Jill Abbott, once an invincible force, a woman of iron will, who moved mountains and crushed empires, now faces an insurmountable enemy. Her health is declining at a terrifying rate, turning this powerful woman into a fragile shadow of her former glory. The truth about her terminal illness, a cruel secret she had tried to conceal from the world, is now undeniable, sending shockwaves through the Abbott and as the medical equipment hums a mournful tune in her opulent bedroom, she realizes an era is rapidly coming. But Jill Abbott is not one to depart peacefully, and the final acts she prepares on her deathbed are designed to explode with the force of a nuclear bomb. Will Jill's final days bring peace to her tumultuous life, or will her last breath ignite a relentless battle for the soul? As the harsh reality of her rapidly declining health becomes undeniable, Jill realizes her time is running out to protect the vast legacy she has spent her life building. The urgent need to complete earthly affairs forces her to orchestrate a fateful gathering, ending in tears, anger, and profound betrayal. She abruptly summons her son, Billy Abbott, and her longtime friend and constant rival, Kane Ashby, to her bedside. The atmosphere in the room instantly becomes so tense, it could cut through a knife. Billy arrived with a heavy heart, his mind struggling to process the horrific reality of his mother's death, while simultaneously grappling with the deep resentment he felt for her recent betrayals at work. Beside him, Sally Spectra offered silent support, though her eyes betrayed a profound fear that this impending tragedy would wound Billy's already fragile psyche. When Kane entered the room, his presence instantly ignited Billy's simmering. The long-standing feud between the two men, fueled by years of bitter rivalry and backstabbing within the company, immediately turned the atmosphere toxic. Why had Jill chosen to bring Kane into this private and painful family moment, and what dark truth was she preparing to expose to the two men who had always vied for her approval? The heavy oak doors of the master bedroom slammed shut, trapping Billy and Kane inside a room that resembled an execution chamber more than a place for final farewells. Jill, her voice hoarse but still familiar with authority, demanded absolute silence as her private attorney stepped forward, pulling out an old, tightly sealed document from a leather briefcase. This wasn't the standard business succession plan they'd expected. This was Jill's final, unchangeable will. As the attorney broke the wax seal and began reading the incomprehensible legal terms, the atmosphere in the room shifted from somber anticipation to chilling, terrifying fear. Billy listened intently, his knuckles turning white as he gripped the edge of the mahogany chair, awaiting the inevitable confirmation of his inheritance. He anticipated complex conditions, perhaps a probationary period, or a convoluted business structure designed to control him. What he didn't anticipate was the complete destruction of his identity as the Prime Minister's heir. As Allure's words echoed through the high ceilings, the horrifying reality gradually emerged. Billy had been deliberately and intentionally cast. How could Billy overcome the psychological devastation of realizing that his mother's final act on earth was to strip him of the very inheritance he believed was his sacred right. The true bombshell, however, is not merely Billy's exclusion, but the shocking destination of the Chancellor Empire. The lawyer reads a highly classified, heavily guarded clause that sends a visceral jolt of pure shock through both Billy and Kane. According to the irrevocable terms of the will, the vast majority of Chancellor Industries, including the controlling voting shares and the massive hidden financial trusts, are to be transferred immediately to a mysterious, unnamed entity. The document reveals that Jill has been secretly acting as the guardian and financial protector of a hidden heir, a phantom figure who has never been mentioned, never been seen, and who many may have believed to be dead. This is the horrifying explanation for the massive, untraceable embezzled funds that Billy and Sally had previously uncovered in the corporate ledger. Jill had not been stealing for personal enrichment. She had been silently siphoning a fortune to protect a ghost. The revelation hits the room like a physical blow, leaving a deafening silence. Who is this mysterious, invisible heir that Jill has sacrificed her relationship with her own son to protect, and what terrifying secrets are they bringing with them out of the shadows? For Billy Abbott, the revelation is a psychological breaking point of catastrophic proportion. The blood completely drains from his face as the magnitude of his mother's deception crashes down upon him. He has spent his entire life fighting to prove his worth to Jill, enduring her constant criticisms, her public humiliations, and her unwavering belief that he was too unstable to manage the family empire. To learn that she was secretly funneling the company's lifeblood to a stranger, someone she deemed more worthy of the Chancellor name than her own flesh and blood, is a betrayal so profound it threatens to shatter his mind entirely. The grief he felt just moments prior instantly curdles into a blinding, manic rage. He looks at his dying mother, a woman who is looking back at him with a mixture of desperate apology and unyielding resolve, and realizes he never truly knew her at all. The sense of isolation is absolute. He is an orphan standing in the house he was meant to rule. Can Billy's deeply fractured psyche withstand this ultimate, soul-crushing betrayal, or is he about to cross a dangerous line into a realm of vengeance from which he can never, ever return? As the blinding red haze of fury consumes his vision, Billy abruptly turns his terrifying gaze toward Kane. The realization hits him with the force of a freight train. Kane is not shocked. Kane's reaction is one of grim resignation, not surprise. In a horrifying moment of clarity, Billy understands that Kane has known about this secret, or at the very least, was positioned by Jill as the gatekeeper to this hidden truth. The fact that Jill trusted Kane, a man Billy views as an arrogant, opportunistic outsider over her own son, is the final match thrown onto the gasoline of Billy's rage. He lunges forward, his voice a guttural roar of pure agony and betrayal, demanding answers from the man who stood by and watched as Billy's birthright was stolen. Kane, defensive and acutely aware of Billy's volatile unpredictability, attempts to justify his complicity, claiming he was only following Jill's strict dying directives to protect the company from Victor Newman. But to Billy, these are the empty excuses of a traitor. Will this explosive confrontation escalate into a violent physical tragedy, or will the sheer magnitude of the mystery force them to step back from the edge of the abyss? Despite the overwhelming urge to destroy each other, a chilling realization slowly dawns. The existence of this hidden heir is a catastrophic threat not just to Billy's shattered pride, but to Kane's carefully constructed position of power as well. If this phantom steps into the light and claims their inheritance, Kane's role as the trusted executor and ultimate authority at Chancellor will be instantly rendered obsolete. The mysterious figure holds the power to fire them, ruin them, and completely dismantle the corporate structures they have fought so desperately to control. Furthermore, if Victor Newman catches even a whisper of this chaotic vulnerability, he will descend upon Chancellor Industries like a vulture, tearing the company apart before the heir even has a chance to sit in the CEO chair. In a moment of bitter, nauseating clarity, Billy and Kane realize that their mutual survival depends on the unthinkable. They must forge a devil's pact, a reluctant and highly toxic alliance, to uncover the identity of the ghost before the ghost destroys them both. Can two bitter, lifelong enemies truly trust each other long enough to navigate this treacherous labyrinth? Or will their inherent hatred cause them to sabotage the only chance they have at saving them? The investigation begins with a frantic, obsessive dive into the darkest corners of Jill's hidden past. Billy and Kane, operating out of a secure, undisclosed location to keep their movements hidden from Victor's spies, begin to meticulously deconstruct decades of encrypted financial records, offshore shell companies, and redacted legal documents. They trace the massive sums of embezzled money following a convoluted digital breadcrumb trail that crosses international borders and disappears into highly secure, anonymous trust funds. The deeper they dig, the more horrifying the reality becomes. They discover old, faded correspondence letters written in the unmistakable, commanding hand of the late Katherine. The realization strikes them that this conspiracy did not begin with Jill. It is a dark, buried sin that traces back to the very origins of the Chancellor. Katherine knew. Jill knew. They were both complicit in hiding this person from the world. What unspeakable tragedy or scandalous affair occurred in the past that forced the two most powerful women in Genoa City to bury an heir alive in a tomb of money? The psychological toll of this relentless pursuit begins to weigh heavily on everyone involved. For Billy, every new document uncovered is a fresh stab wound to his heart, a constant reminder of the elaborate double life his mother lived while simultaneously judging his every move. He is fighting tooth and nail for a legacy that was actively, maliciously hidden. Beside him, Sally Spectra watches with growing, paralyzing terror as the man she loves is consumed by this dark obsession. She sees the manic glint in Billy's eyes, the reckless disregard for his own well-being, and she fears that this crusade will ultimately destroy whatever fragile bond they have left. Sally is already carrying the immense emotional baggage of her own recent traumas, and the prospect of Billy losing his mind over a phantom heir makes her question if their relationship can survive the. Will Sally have the strength to pull Billy back from the brink of total madness, or will she be forced to walk away to protect her own sanity before he drags her down with? Meanwhile, completely oblivious to the apocalyptic earthquake rumbling beneath her feet, Lily Winters sits comfortably in the executive suite of Chancellor Industries. She is fiercely preparing for a traditional corporate war, shoring up her defenses against what she believes will be Billy's inevitable standard boardroom. She is strategizing, rallying her allies, and solidifying her authority, entirely unaware that the ground she is standing on is an illusion. The true threat is not Billy Abbott. It is the hidden bloodline that is about to emerge from the shadows and render her title, her power, and her entire corporate strategy completely meaningless. When the true heir finally steps into the light, armed with an ironclad will and the backing of billions in secret funds, Lily will be caught directly in the crossfire of a massacre she never saw coming. How will Lily react when she discovers that her entire reign at Chancellor was nothing more than a temporary placeholder for a ghost she never knew existed? As the days turn into sleepless nights, the scattered clues finally begin to converge into a terrifyingly clear picture. Billy and Kane managed to crack the final layer of encryption on a hidden offshore account, revealing a specific geographic location and a heavily guarded medical facility. The payments weren't just for luxury or silence. They were for protection, isolation, and perhaps even rehabilitation. The heir is not just a passive beneficiary waiting for a check. They are someone who has been carefully managed, hidden away from a specific lethal threat, or perhaps they are the lethal threat. The realization dawns on Billy that this person might be a presumed dead relative, a secret love child of Philip Chancellor, or a dark consequence of one of Katherine's many hidden rivalries. The heir is real, they are alive, and according to the final transfer of funds, they are already on their way to Genoa City. Is the hidden heir already walking the streets of their city, hiding in plain sight, watching their every move as they prepare to execute a hostile takeover of their lives? The final pieces fall into place, setting the stage for a confrontation that will shatter the very foundation of the Abbott and Chancellor dynasty. Billy and Kane stand on the precipice of the ultimate truth, armed with the knowledge of where the heir is going to strike first. Their bitter truce has barely held together, frayed by constant suspicion and the overwhelming stress of the impending doom. Billy is armed with a righteous, blinding fury, ready to tear down whoever dares to steal his mother's legacy, while Kane is calculating his next move, desperate to secure a position of power in the New World Order. The doors to the Chancellor boardroom are about to be kicked open, and the ghost that Jill sacrificed everything to protect is about to claim their throne. Who will emerge victorious when the hidden heir finally reveals their face, and who will be left standing in the ashes with absolutely